I'm Mark Sponsor from StormSurf.com, and here's the surf forecast for the Hawaiian Islands for the week starting Friday, April 8th. Brought to you by your surf authority, expert advice, and friendly staff, Hawaiian South Shore. So we'll start in the North Pacific, and as usual, we'll start looking at the jet stream level. Jet stream is where all the energy comes from that helps produce winter storms, or in this case, spring storms. We're looking for a trough, a dip in the jet, and what we don't see is any significant troughs in the Hawaiian swell window. We see the jet pushing off of Japan. It's actually split pushing off of Japan. Japan's right there. Part of it's going up into the Bering Sea. There's the Aleutian Islands. Part of it's sagging south. There's the Hawaiian Islands. And the jet's just an unorganized mess. That does not help support the formation of gales or produce storms that produce winds that produce swell. And as we get into Saturday and Sunday, just more of the same goes on. Then finally on Tuesday, we see a bit of a trough. Still the jet stream split, but at least the jet is dipping south. What that helps to do is create a counterclockwise flow aloft and down at the ocean surface. That's the hallmark of low pressure, and as most of us know, low pressure generates winds, winds generate seas, seas as they radiate away from the fetch area turns into swell, and swell when it hits your beach, like Hawaii here, turns into surf. So we have a bit of a trough forecast on Wednesday over the North Dateline region. That quickly sort of peters out. We get into Friday, the jet stream starts consolidating with winds building to 190 knots there, but pretty much right up there alongside the Aleutian Islands. So not a whole lot of positive news in that regard. Quickly looking at surface pressure, surface level winds, there's the Hawaiian Islands there, U.S. West Coast there, Japan there. We see high pressure, 1036 millibars, generating winds. We're going to get at that in a minute. But right now, little cutoff low, but no fetch aimed at the Hawaiian Islands. Another little low off the Krill Islands, really not doing anything. So we put this into motion. We're looking for fetch somewhere in here, winds aimed at the Hawaiian Islands with wind speeds at least 30 knots, preferably 35. Here's this little low we saw starting to develop in that trough on Monday, 30-knot winds, and it just sort of circulates there with more 30-knot winds. Maybe that's good for wind swell or something. Now, notice this large tropical system. You never believe the models with tropical systems are going out 138 hours, maybe 72 hours, but not 138 hours. So we're just literally going to ignore that for right now. But then as we get into Friday, low pressure, again, remember the jet is building here off the Krill Islands, 40-knot winds forecast on Friday, aimed reasonably well at the Hawaiian Islands down here, and some secondary fetch in the Western Gulf at 30 knots from the north aimed at the Hawaiian Islands. So the models are teasing long term, and this tropical low, if it forms, might get caught up in the jet too and do something. But for right now, nothing immediate forecast. And then finally, the wave model. The effect of the winds on the ocean surface. We're looking for seas at least 20 foot aimed at the Hawaiian Islands right there. We're not really seeing anything, and we don't expect to see something. A little bit of a low up here. What's that? Maybe 15, 16 foot seas on Monday, but that's hardly good for even wind swell considering it's 1,800 miles away. Yes, your eyes are drawn to the tropical system here in the far west Pacific, but that honestly is a fantasy at this early date. Finally, you get into Friday. Okay, 26-foot seas, 27-foot seas, pushing off the Krill Islands. That could produce swell aimed at Hawaii. And yes, if this tropical system materializes and does something, yes, it too could produce swell. And yes, this low-pressure system here in the Western Gulf with 20-foot seas aimed south could produce something. But again, 180 hours out, models are very unstable that far into the future. Keep it in your back pocket, but don't bet on it. The more guaranteed thing, and not a great guaranteed thing, but at least something to generate swell in the North Pacific, high pressure. There's California, Hawaiian Islands right there. Strong high pressure generating a broad fetch of 20 to almost 25 knot winds aimed at the Hawaiian Islands. That's certainly, and that's happening Friday and Saturday, and then still even 15 to 20 knot winds into Sunday, and even beyond that, steady, the point being steady easterly wind swell for exposed east-facing breaks of the Hawaiian Islands. Something to ride. Some of it may be wrapping around. And then as we get out a week, things start getting more interesting. This low here, the fetch aimed at the Hawaiian Islands, but we talked about that earlier. Down south, a gale started building Friday, a week ago, south of New Zealand. Small, not really strong, but 30-foot seas, pushing and then fading to 28 feet as we got into Sunday, and even less. And then a secondary fetch beyond that with 28-foot seas right there. That's New Zealand. Hawaii is about, let's say, 158 up beyond the chart up here somewhere. So Swell has at least a week of travel time to get to the Hawaiian Islands, but the expectation, and we're out now, we're out Wednesday, Thursday, nothing was behind that. That system traversed the South Pacific, and it is the swell from that system is expected to arrive on Saturday, tomorrow, April 9th, and continue through about Wednesday the 13th, peaking probably on Sunday. Nothing big, pure swell, 1.5 feet at 16 seconds. That's like 2.5 foot Hawaiian at top breaks, so maybe shoulder high or head high on peaks at the best spots with bathymetry to enhance the swell some. So rideable, early season summer swell, but nothing too exciting yet. And then looking forward, just a quick scan, another little low to push under New Zealand on Saturday, a day from now. 25-foot seas, something like that, nothing huge. And then things kind of fade after that. Yes, low pressure, falling south, generating 30-foot seas. Fetch needs to be aimed to the north to produce anything of interest. And then a quick look long-term, the El Nino, La Nina thing. Well, this is sea surface temperature anomalies, sea surface temperature differences from normal for this time of year. South America, North America, Australia, Hawaii right there. Blues, colder than normal temperatures, the telltale sign of La Nina. It's what goes on right on the equator here that affects the entire global weather pattern in the Pacific here. Cold water in the Pacific affects the entire planet's weather pattern. And this is the hallmark of La Nina, colder than normal water. Warm water off to the east, warm water off to the west, warmer than normal to the north, but it's right here. So for now, a continuation of La Nina. The model's split, undetermined by next fall whether it's going to be a continuation, a third year of La Nina, which is a very unusual event, or maybe a return back to normal. We'll keep watching and keep you posted. So for right now, wind swell, east-facing shores, nothing huge, but something rideable, a little bit junky. Nothing really forecast from the North Pacific until maybe a gale forms a week from now. Keep your eyes on that. Down south, small southern hemiswell due to arrive tomorrow, through the weekend, into the mid part of next week. Nothing huge, but rideable, fun. Go get it, have some fun, enjoy yourself, stay safe, and don't forget to shop at Hawaiian South Shore. Thank you.